I've defeated you.
It's true, and I've conquered you.
I own you now.
Hello, welcome to Guide to the Unknown. I'm Kristen.
And I'm her little brother, William.
And this week we are combing our archives to find things that Will and I took notes about, but never actually got to speak about in an episode. So this is going to be a grab bag of those topics.
Spring cleaning.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm. It's important.
Sometimes your notes get clogged up.
Yeah.
Sometimes the episode gets clogged up because I just run my mouth.
Or moi.
We run out of time.
You have some things too?
I do. I've got a fun variety of things.
Yeah,
But so I'm curious to see where this episode may take us, because truly, neither one of us really knows what the other is going to bring out of the past.
Absolutely.
Forgotten notes.
Well, why don't you kick it off?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That sounds good to me. I have some things that I think I didn't say from the last time we did Real Housewives.
Okay, yep.
It was episode 264, Real Housewives of the Netherworld Return, something like that.
Yeah.
And I had watched Potomac and New Jersey, but I also watched other clips. Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Yep.
Real Housewives of Dallas.
Yep.
And
New York.
Okay, maybe I also covered that then on the show. 'Cause this is the stuff that
You didn't cover New York.
I didn't cover New York?
No.
Really?
But that's
so
okay.
There's still even more stuff then.
I suppose.
Real Housewives.
No biggie.
Potomac, New York, Beverly Hills. I did. Yeah, I don't even have New York in my notes. Maybe I just sort of like riffed.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. Maybe I watched it and then it was like, don't need
do it.
notes. I'm perfect.
Right.
But I do have this. There was an episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta that I watched where they had a psychic that came in who got into a fight with everybody.
Yeah.
And then just got up and left the room.
Well, they went to her.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
So you've seen this?
Yes, I have.
You've seen all this stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
They say, I have this quote here. Also, my notes are a mystery because I don't fully remember all the context of it.
Should we not do this?
I know this. I'll tell you this. The psychic says this at some point to one of the Real Housewives. She goes, "You're not a little girl. You have not been a little girl for a long time. Okay, sweetheart?"
I think she's talking to Kim Zolciak-Biermann.
Wow.
If I remember correctly, because Kim Zolciak is being a real pain in the ass.
The psychic goes, "I'm from a higher power. I can promise you that." And then
this one was amazing.
Yeah, I think it's Kim is not taking it very seriously.
Yeah.
And then the psychic goes, "This is some bullshit. This is negative energy." She's not feeling it. And then the psychic says to Kim, "Kim, if I were to present you with a bath right now, would you be willing to let me clean you off?" Which is crazy.
That is crazy. I feel like there's got to be some larger context for that. I would imagine. Maybe they were talking about the concept of washing someone's feet as a way of being ultimately loving.
Maybe. I did write, "This is super fun. I love this." I think maybe I shouldn't talk about this anymore.
Okay. All right. That's fine. That's fine.
All right.
Yeah. It needs to be, that's the kind of thing that needs to be fresh in the mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of them keeps checking their cell phone during the reading. And I think this is one of the things that set the psychic off.
Right.
And the psychic also wants to go outside, take some things from the bushes and dip them in a jar to create some sort of like a salve.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she leaves and says, and they said, "This is bananas."
Yeah, I mean, she was super pissed.
Yeah, the psychic. I like the idea of the psychic. I like the idea of anybody joining an episode of The Real Housewives.
Yeah.
And then being like, I hate all of you and I hate this.
Pretty much. I mean, if I remember correctly, they came to her spiritual center and then started fighting with each other, that was intended. I think that she was meant to be a spiritual referee for them.
Okay.
Because there was discord in the group, unsurprisingly. And then she would kind of help them sort it out from a more heightened level.
Yeah.
But then Kim came in and she was just being super disrespectful and annoying.
Out, checking her phone.
She brought in a red Solo cup with booze in it that she didn't drive. She was drinking in the car.
Okay.
And was just being super flippant and weird. And that lady was not having it. And that's not usually what you see. Usually they're quite docile when these women are being assholes.
Yes, because you think of the cast, the recurring cast of the show going crazy on each other. But the idea that a normie even a psychic normie
Sure.
comes in and would be like, you're all out of your goddamn minds.
That lady was given as good as she got.
That's great.
And I have to tell you, in real time right now on the Real Housewives of New Jersey, there is a fight going on that has to do with a psychic.
Okay.
It is a Turkish coffee ground reader.
Okay.
I think I had you watch somebody do that like a long time ago. I think for our first Real Housewives episode, but this is a thing. It's kind of like reading.
Sounds like reading tea leaves.
It's exactly the same, but with coffee grounds. And this woman came in to give everybody a reading, and she was saying things that were so specific that they were like, okay, Jen, who brought this woman, into the fold, absolutely told her this stuff.
Yeah.
Because like when she went to read Jen, she was like, I see that, your future is bright. You have a lot of endorsements coming in. And they were like, come on, because they had just had a fight where somebody was talking about endorsements with her. And they were like, where'd you get that word? And people are all into Jen right now because of that.
Okay, that's great.
It's great.
I love that. Mm-hmm. What do you know about this one, just while we're finishing Real Housewives?
Sure.
Real Housewives of Dallas?
Yeah, they go to a haunted house, right?
They go ghost hunting. Mm-hmm. And they say, my girlfriend contacts my dog who died through a Ouija board. She could feel his fur.
Oh.
That's an event that occurred.
Okay.
I guess, facilitator of this ghost hunt says, on any piece of land you're on, you're gonna get activity. Which very much plays into something that I've said on the show before.
Yeah.
Of like, everywhere you stand, someone's been there and someone's probably died.
Yes.
There are dead bodies everywhere.
I would say, if not buried underneath.
Maybe fully decomposed, like there's not even a sign, but like somebody died everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. And they use a pendulum for scrying, right?
Okay.
Now, we've done this ourselves. We did a ghost hunt last year in October. You literally dangle a pendulum on like a board and it might sway to the left, to the right. But they refer to using this pendulum to protect themselves.
Oh.
Which I've never heard of.
I don't know. Were they definitely using a pendulum, or were they just kind of like holding a thing? And it's, that was like a
I don't remember for sure now, but it did seem like just like a misunderstanding of like watching it as somebody who looks at all this kind of stuff constantly. I was just like, they don't understand what they're doing.
That's not what a pendulum is for. A pendulum is for communication.
I know the use of this toy.
Yes.
And then they go to a little kid's room, and I liked this. One of the Real Housewives decides when they go into the room, she says, I want to sit on the floor because there are supposedly ghosts of little kids in here.
Yeah.
And I like that, like, she sort of, if you take this all and say that it's all definitely real,
may
that
as
she
well
was
get
like,
into it.
Get on their level and try to be non-threatening.
Right.
Right? Yeah, be able to make eye contact kind of thing. And I liked that.
Yeah.
And they keep, like, rolling a ball and being like, she's going to roll it back. Like, the spirit of this kid's going to roll it back.
Yeah.
And then eventually that stops. Like, the ball is just... Maybe the floor is not
happening.
even,
Yeah.
She goes, she didn't want to play with her ball anymore. That's really sad.
That is very sad.
It's very sad. It would make anybody, it's heartbreaking when the ghost you're playing with, the ball you're rolling in an empty room stops rolling around.
Yeah.
And that means the ghost didn't want to play with it anymore. That is really sad.
That makes me sad.
So those were just like some weird, that's like, I just gave you almost like deleted scenes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, almost like no context and barely any remembrance. But those were things that I had researched.
Yeah.
About the Real Housewives.
Works for me. And I have to tell you, the Real Housewives of Dallas is a ghost itself now.
Oh,
it got canceled.
God. Oh, no.
That hardly ever happens.
Really?
It has to be pretty bad to get canceled.
Meaning,
it stunk.
I know. What is the mark of quality? How can it be bad? They're not fighting enough?
Oh, no, they were fighting enough. It's just, we're like, almost no one is likable, or the villains are just like too bad, or the fights are too ridiculous. There was a woman on there who was being openly racist on the last season that it was on.
Damn.
But like not acknowledging that it was racism. Like, I don't even know how to explain it without going all into it. It's not good.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, she was like, no, I just mean whatever. And you're like, that's racist. That's not good.
Yeah.
So I think that was a big tipping point, because she was kind of like in her nuttiness, like sort of the star of the show, because she was very dynamic.
Okay.
Not in a good way. Not like, oh, we love this lady, but she was very compelling to watch in her nuttiness. And with her gone, it's kind of hard. Like, she was the fulcrum of like a lot of like drama and fights.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there were some, there were a couple of like good people on there who sadly their franchise had to go bye-bye. But now they have Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, which brings in everybody from all the franchises, whether they were canceled or not.
Some real world road rules challenge stuff.
Yeah. Now these people can come back. So I'm looking forward to Stephanie from Dallas, everybody knows what I'm talking about, to be on Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. Because I think she was nice.
Sounds like this is like some dream combinations you might get.
Yes, that's exactly the thing. Yeah, it's people from all the different cities all mushed together, and they go off on like an exotic vacation together. Right now,
like if Dorothy from the West Coast and Esmeralda from the East Coast met, what would it be?
It's exactly that, but in Thailand, which is where they are right now.
Right. Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's awesome.
I'm happy for you.
You would like it. You enjoyed it.
Sure.
Don't poo-poo now. I remember that you were like, actually, I loved it. You indoctrinated me and whatever.
You know what? I was indoctrinated, but then I fell away from
the flock.
I'm like the Mandalorian, right? Like I'm an acolyte now or whatever.
Mandalorian fall away?
He fell away from and then he had to bless himself in the sacred waters.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
I have to bless myself.
I thought he fell away again in real time or something, because right now he's hanging out with everybody in the cave.
Bless yourself before you mess yourself.
Got that right, Will.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to head over to Haunted Vermont?
Of course I do.
Okay, great. So this is from episode 277. This is one that I was sad to let go by the wayside, but I knew that we were obviously going to do this some other time, so it was okay. But this is, I liked this a lot. So I found out about this thing from obscurevermont.com. This is an awesome blog that's been going on for years, and it's set up like really simply, really easy to navigate, super awesome with lots of pictures of the subjects that it's talking about. And I really recommend checking it out because it was super cool, and it's run by somebody named Chad Abramovich. So this is the story of the Moretown Whatsit.
Oh, I've heard of this.
Really?
Yeah. I literally name only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, do you have a guess as to how you've heard of it?
God, no. I would have said something like Weird New Jersey, but obviously not because it's Vermont.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's a great name. So this all kind of like started when Chad's anonymous friend, who he's interviewing for this blog post, was outside in the hot tub with a couple of buddies. And even though nobody else was home, they heard the sound of footsteps suddenly pacing back and forth by the garage, which wasn't far away. And it was especially weird to them that they all of a sudden heard these footsteps happening like relatively closely nearby, because they didn't hear anybody approaching or anything, and you would have based on like where the sound was relative to them. And since it was winter and it was that super crusty snow outside, they feel like they would have heard somebody.
Yeah.
They would have heard somebody walk up
crunch,
and then maybe
crunch.
pace back and forth. But all of a sudden, just, back and forth. It's very strange. So all three of these people felt really uneasy, and they didn't really know what to do until one of them decided to jump out and investigate. And then the other two followed. They were probably, I bet one of them was like, fine, I'll do it. And the other ones were like, well, we don't want to feel like wimps. Maybe then they came.
Yeah, maybe the first guy went, and then the second guy was like, all right, I ain't no chicken, I'm going too.
Yeah.
And then the third guy was like,
well, I don't want to be alone by myself.
Exactly. Yeah. And then he hops out of the tub, and then you've got these three guys in their skivvies.
Yeah.
Creeping in the snow. Crunching
so
barefoot through the snow, shivering.
Yeah. So they found nothing when they went to investigate, not even footprints, which is really weird because all three of them felt like they definitely heard footprints. So they just kind of acknowledge it as like, that's weird. We're all certain that we heard this. I don't get it. Then a few weeks later, a friend was over at this person's house, the anonymous person, when that person's whose house was dog started barking like crazy. And so this friend, the owner of the house, let's call them, for, clarity's sake, was unnerved and weirded out because, they'd experienced this weird hot tub thing not that long ago. And the friend who was visiting asked why they were so weirded out by this. What's the big deal? And it was, in part because they knew that something strange had happened recently, and in part because their dog was majorly old and hadn't barked in years.
Oh.
So for them to be barking, something had to be really wrong, or at least going on for sure.
Right.
So they got up to check on the dog, and they heard the sound of footsteps again on this hard, icy snow. But when they went outside to investigate, again, no one was there and there weren't any footsteps. So the friend who was visiting, the owner of the house, was completely weirded out and wanted to go home. And so the owner walked her home. So they were out there on a cold, moonless night using flashlights to guide them as they walked, and they heard the wail of coyotes, first from the woods behind a nearby river, and then from the woods behind this guy's house.
Okay.
He had the sense that something was happening that one of the coyotes didn't like, or maybe someone was about. They were sounding like agitated and weirded out, not just like a normal like howl in the night situation. So he swung his flashlight beam around and caught something terrifying. A set of yellow glowing eyes like a cat's eyes about 5 feet higher than the roof of his neighbor's house.
Whoa.
He saw the eyes duck below the roof line and he turned off his flashlight, scared, like he was scared to do it, but he didn't really want to frighten it away. He was like into investigating what it was, which my first instinct is like, I would just want to get the hell out of there.
Absolutely.
But this is the friend of the guy who runs the Scary Vermont website. So maybe he's into this stuff too.
Yeah, I need to know.
Yeah.
Right.
So it, is inclined to try to get to the bottom of the mystery. So now with the lights off, this thing scrambled back onto the roof. And as the guy's eyes adjusted to the darkness, he saw something terrifying. He said that the eyes of this thing that were on top of the roof were attached to something semi-human that looked like a gangly shadow. It climbed down from the roof and ran away into the night, and the coyotes started barking and wailing again. This guy has not seen it since. He thought that it could have some connection to the PIGMAN sightings, since Moretown is close to the Devil's Wash Bowl, where the PIGMAN resides.
Of course.
But the details of the cases are pretty different, so this may just be a second cryptid in the area.
Okay.
Wait, the PIGMAN?
I know. Yeah.
What is that? So
real quick, before we move on to PIGMAN, use the phrase semi-human, which I would typically think of like humanoid being a term in these doings. Semi-human, I think, is a really cool, spooky thing. Yeah. Because what makes it semi, right?
Right.
Like, what do you
I'm sure I picked
kind
that
of thing?
just from the website.
I love that. Semi-human.
From obscurevermont.com.
It's great.
So then, they reference that like everybody just knows what the PIGMAN was on this website, because to them, it probably is like, yeah, we're into this stuff.
Yeah.
And like everybody's got to know about the PIGMAN. So I looked into it, and the way I decided to do this was by watching the show Monsters and Mysteries in America, Season 3, Episode 5. So this show has reenactments, like all these kinds of shows, the whole bit. I had never seen this before, but I loved it. And part of the reason I decided to use this as the source is because the guy who runs obscurevermont.com, Chad Abramovich, is in this episode of Monsters and Mysteries talking about it. So I felt like it had some credibility.
Yeah.
So this happened in Northfield, which looked like a cutie little town, but the locals have been terrorized by a PIGMAN monstrosity for decades.
Wow.
Now, I mentioned the Devil's Wash Bowl before. That is a ravine on the edge of this town with a single road to get in or out. And they spoke to, on the show, a local named Amanda who said that there are caves and a ton of underbrush, and it seems like the Devil's Wash Bowl will be a very easy and appealing place to hide if one wanted to do so. So the story of the PIGMAN goes that in 1971, a 20-ish ballpark-year-old man disappeared from a nearby farm where he was reportedly cruel to his pigs. One night, he disappeared, and it said that his body disappeared as well, and people kind of whispered, was it eaten by the pigs?
Yeah.
Like, is that what happened? From then, weird things started happening in the area. A local guy heard something messing with his garbage cans, and assuming that it was a bear or some raccoons, he wanted to go out and scare it off and just be like, hey, you, get out of here. Instead, he saw the naked body of a man with the head of a pig rooting through his garbage cans.
God damn.
Very scary.
The naked body of a man with the head of a pig.
You could call that semi-human.
Yeah, this is going to be a crazy thing to say.
I like it.
Aren't this sounds good. Yeah. Aren't pigs supposed to be like really, really, really close to humans?
Yes.
So like a nude man sort of looks like a pig, is my point. Are we talking about limb length? Because that's really it.
What do you mean?
And a whole different kind of ass.
We're saying that it's a pig, except its limbs are much longer.
I'm just, I get, yeah. Well, because you're saying he's got the body of a human.
Well, he's a naked man.
Most of the pig is torso.
True.
I guess I don't know what I'm saying.
I think there's dingling and booty in play.
Oh, you think that's what he honed in on? That is a human dingling and booty. Because I think about limbs. I think about the arms and hands as being huge.
And I would also think he was standing upright, digging through the garbage. If he's saying he looks like a human, like a pig wouldn't be like. It's not Richard Scary.
But
if only.
If a human was on all fours, which is what I'm picturing, admittedly.
Okay.
Like a pig's face is forward, right? Because he's on all fours.
Yeah.
Like a dog.
Yeah.
But a human, we stand on 2 feet and our face
also
looks
forward.
where our toes are pointing.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Kind of.
Wait. Hold on. I'm trying to describe something that's...
Take your time.
I'm trying to describe something that's impossible to describe. You know that
the
meme?
PIGMEN?
You know the meme that's like, if a dog wore pants, would it wear them like this or like this? And it's
if
like,
a frog had wings, they'd bump his ass when he hopped. Whatever.
You learned English from the Police Academy movies.
That's right.
You know, but
it's
like
from Wayne's World.
In that meme where it's like, would a dog wear jeans? It's like, does he wear them only on his hind legs?
Right.
Or do the jeans go on all 4 legs?
I've actually never seen this.
You've never seen this meme? So what I'm saying is, for a pig man, what direction is his head pointed? Because a pig... Shit. All right. Because a pig...
He's a pig man.
A pig is on all 4s looking straight ahead.
Right.
Do we agree?
Yeah.
And if he was standing on 2 feet, is his head pointed straight up? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
If a pig stood up on its hind legs, its head would be pointed at the sky.
Yeah, like it doesn't have like it can't go down. Really.
Yeah, because its face should be looking forward.
But what does this have to do with the guy seeing somebody who he described as having the body of a man and the head of a pig? What is?
Because I can't decide what that looked like.
I think we have to assume. We just gotta assume exactly what he's saying. Let's assume
the body of a man. So the pig face is looking forward.
Yes, it's as though he's wearing a pig mask, like from Saw.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think also I have the benefit, I will say, of having watched this, and they showed the PIGMAN.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Yeah, so it was like a pig head on like a man's body.
It wasn't looking straight up into the sky. Oh.
That's so funny. Screwed up. That you just take a pig and just like make him stand up.
Make it stand up, and now it's looking up.
But also, we'll get off this
walls.
in a second. This wouldn't work anyway, because if we're going on this sort of thing, we're like, you take a cardboard cutout of a pig, standing, okay? And then you make him stand. That means his legs are all out,
He has two top legs.
They're all, no, and bottom.
And
You know what I mean? If we're just taking a pig and just flipping it, that means it could only just be sitting on its curly tail.
Sitting flat on its ass with all 4 limbs.
Yeah, just straight out from its body.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
All right. Shit, it doesn't work.
But you know what? At least we puzzled it out.
At least we worked on it. All right, we won't do it.
All right, scrap the pig idea.
Scrap the PIGMAN. The vertical pig experiment.
The vertical pig experiment.
A vert pig. A pig in portrait, not landscape.
That's exactly what it is.
Yes.
In vertical mode, because it's better for social media.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kristen,
Everybody's
better
on their
engagement
phones these days. You want them to just be able to take that thumb, scroll. Oh God, that's so funny.
Horizontal pigs are for television.
Exactly.
Vert pigs for Insta and TikTok.
You could also do horizontal for YouTube.
Oh, you got that right. All right.
People do turn their phones for YouTube. There are studies. Okay, so that guy saw a pig man in his garbage. From then, weird things started happening in the area. A local guy heard something messing with his garbage cans. Oh, wait, no, that's the same paragraph.
It's stuck in a loop.
Whoops.
So now I got a load of this. PIGMAN. Just trapped on PIGMAN.
Whoops-a-doodle. Okay.
Oh, if we had the gumption to just not call out that happened, but do an hour where we just keep hovering around the PIGMAN.
Like those horrible TikToks that are a loop?
Yes.
Over and over?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. They're designed to loop.
Yes. Just keep going. Okay. Weird things do keep happening, though. I'm now on to the next paragraph. Later that fall, there were teens at the local high school dance, and some of the bad kids went out behind the school to drink and smoke. And while they were back there, they heard some weird noises coming from the nearby woods. One of the kids had a flashlight, and they were shocked to see the crouching PIGMAN eating roadkill, kind of squealing and screaming as it ate. Now, this could be a pig, because it sounds crouching.
I hope to God this one's a pig.
It's gotta be a pig. Now it's crouching, which is in pig position.
Do you see what I was saying initially, though, about like how a pig, it's pale. It looks like if I'm...
I think the thing with pigs is that they are mentally closer to humans than other animals.
Well, no, it's not just that.
Yeah.
It's they are physically... So, like, they have... Oh, man. I swear to God, I saw something somewhere sometime, which I know this is not the greatest source. I swear to God, I've seen something where it's like when they study how like humans decompose, sometimes they'll use a pig.
You're right.
Right, because it's like...
You know what I think it is?
It's fat, like...
I think it's a Patricia Cornwell book called The Body Farm.
Okay.
I think that they talk about it in there.
Because look at this. And in the chat, Matthew, pig heart valves can be used for defective human heart valves.
Yeah.
Pigs and humans, we've got some sort of simpatico physicality. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is, I am Caucasian. My skin is quite white and like pinkish. I've got a rosy hue about my cheeks. Hue? Yes. Yeah. When I blush, people go, "Are you wearing blush?" So, if you saw me in the woods on all fours and a pig in the woods on all fours, we look roughly similar.
I don't think so, Will.
I'm saying, if somebody says to you there's a pig man in and about these woods,
right,
and then you are running through the woods with a flashlight and you come across a pig squealing and happily eating, like all scary, you might convince yourself, well, like, all right, he's got the body of a man because his skin's all pink.
I guess.
It might just be a pig.
Honestly, I feel that some variation of that must be actually happening here.
And that's what I was...
And it's combined with, like, just people psyching themselves out and freaking out or whatever.
Exactly. When I was talking, it sounded like I was almost, like, half in a dream about arm length. It's because I was like...
Yeah, you're like, it's about limb length.
I was like, it's, like, baffling. I know, I understand, because I'm also having a hard time articulating it, but it's like... Fundamentally, the thing that would most give it away is our arms are longer than a pig's and we have hands, not hooves.
Right.
If you can't see those parts.
And hair and stuff.
Some people are bald.
No, they certainly are, but...
And you said the
body hair, I don't know.
You said it had the head of a pig, so I took for granted that the pig is hairless. I'm not picturing like a pig with like a 70s
I'm talking about
comb
the person.
to the side.
I'm talking about the person. People have body hair, and I feel that would be a tell.
They're like, and they've got hair and stuff. Like,
no, people.
Like this pig man, like, should he have...
I feel like if I saw somebody's hairy ass in the woods, I would know that it was a human and not a pig.
I think it's very important what part of the pig you're approaching to think it's a pig man or a pig. That's all I'm saying.
I think there's almost no part that I could be approaching that I mistake a man for a pig or vice versa. I know I'm not in Mensa or anything, but I feel like I got a pretty good handle on man v pig.
All right, listen. We record this live, youtube.com/GTTUpod. Someone just popped in the chat, said, made it, hi all, and I just want to say, right on time.
Yeah, hi.
You joined for the best part. Or we're really confused about pigs.
Oh, I'm not confused at all.
All right, I'm confused about even what points I'm trying to make. Let's move on.
Okay, I mean, we're moving on, but we're still talking about pigs. So for all we know, this could all just be coming back again. So they saw those scary pigs. So that pig, eating roadkill and being like, or whatever. So they all ran back and they were freaked out and crying and upset. And Chad, who is the guy who runs that website, points out that for teen boys to cry in front of the whole school is a big deal.
Yes.
So if these bad kids who are going out back to smoke and drink come back from that and they're crying because they saw a pig man, like, it's big stuff.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, pretty wild.
This is a weird day.
Yeah, this dance just got really weird.
Really weird.
So people start searching the caves in the Devil's Washbowl area, and they found a bed of matted hay and small animal bones. The Pigman's lair.
This is crazy.
Narration. Where the man ends and the pig begins is anybody's guess.
Say it again?
The narrator on top of the show said, where the man ends and the pig begins is anybody's guess.
Where the man ends and the pig begins. Now, that could be behavioral. It could be.
It's a show about the Pigman called Monsters and Mysteries. They're not talking about pigs' emotional intelligence matching that of a human. He's talking about literally a man body and a pig body.
No!
The narrator of this show, William?
If they said it's a man with the head of a pig, where the man ends and the pig begins, is the neck.
I shouldn't have talked about this.
It's the neck. We know that for sure.
Yeah, but
He's
also
saying pigs don't make a bed out of hay for no goddamn reason. They don't go in the woods and find bedding and pull it all together and make a bed. His point was where the man, the intelligence of a man, ends, and a pig being just a creature who can't just build unless pigs are out there building beds for themselves. I think that's what he means.
All right, numero uno. I can understand the confusion because I don't think that narration was directly in response to the pig bed. Okay. But you wouldn't know that.
Okay.
I think that was a piece of narration that I was like, that's funny, I'm writing that down.
Right.
The way I said it, I completely understand why you would think that. I believe that they were just talking conceptually and in a silly way, because this is crazy. Who knows where man ends and pig begins?
Right.
Or whatever.
Okay.
So then later on in the 80s, because that was all in the 70s that was happening, it became a thing to go to Devil's Washbowl and freak each other out about the Pigman. It also became a lover's lane.
Before the Pigman. Enter bride of Pigman, son of Pigman.
That's right. So this one couple was necking in the car when the guy said he had to go pee-pee, and all of a sudden...
Oh, sorry, I have to go pee-pee.
Hang on, babe, I have to go pee-pee. All of a sudden, the girl heard a noise and saw her boyfriend had been tossed into the underbrush by the Pigman.
Whoa! With his like pants around his ankles.
Again, I'm picturing just an image of this man as though it's a cardboard cutout, just being picked up and tossed away in the exact same position as he gets tossed. The couple screams after this happened drove the Pigman away.
God.
The boyfriend had injuries that support his account that the Pigman didn't have hands, but giant hooves/claws.
Okay, so that answers part of it for me.
Yes, yeah. So I think it's
hooves/claws.
Yeah, I know.
Pigs don't have claws, so it is like a claw is closer to a human hand than a hoof is. So it is like a missing link between pig and man.
Right, that's part of where man ends and pig begins, I believe.
Yeah.
So these sightings happen even today, Will. A local photographer named Amanda shared her account of she and her friends after a night of hanging out who all went to go seek out the Pigman since Devil's Washbowl was kind of nearby. They were probably a mile down the road in total darkness when they started noticing branches falling right in front of them. Always in front as they moved. It was very weird. Oh. One of the friends said they heard squealing and they all started kind of hearing it and freaking out and getting scared, so they decided to turn around and go home. Suddenly, the Pigman appeared before them, naked, super pale, with the head of a pig. They hauled ass home. She says she doesn't know exactly what's out there, but she would never go back.
It sounds like she does know exactly what's out there.
Yeah,
she
a naked
saw
Pigman.
Full frontal Pigman.
Yeah, exactly. Like Kramer.
The Pigman will do full frontal. Do I remember?
Oh.
That is another one of my unused pieces of material this week.
Perfect.
Is the Pigman.
Well, let's move on. I'm done.
You're done with the Pigman from Vermont?
Yep. Well, before we move on, we need to make sure that everybody out there knows some things about us pig people. First of all, we have something new to tell you. We always tell you about Patreon stuff, and we'll do that too, don't you worry. But we want to let you know that we have a live show coming up.
That's right.
That is free to attend because we are going to be part of the Jersey Devil Fable Fest in Asbury Park, New Jersey, put on by Paranormal Books and Curiosities. On Saturday, May 6th, we will be going live at 3 p.m.
And when we say live,
live show.
I already mentioned, like, we record live on YouTube and stuff. We're going to be live in a room with an audience in front of them.
Well, on a street.
On a street.
Yeah, but still.
But we're going to be doing a podcast physically in person.
Yeah.
And so I know that we've got a bunch of people that are in the tri-state area, some beyond, who travel down, which is mind-boggling.
Totally.
We were at this convention last year. We thought we were going to do a live show. It didn't happen. We've got a day. We've got a time. We are scheduled in.
Yeah.
Saturday, May 6th, 3 p.m. at the Jersey Devil Fable Festival. Come drop by, see the show. We will have a table. We will be hanging out. Come talk to us.
We'll be there all day long, but we'll be doing our show at 3.
Exactly. We'll even be there the night before.
Yes.
At on the panel of a film festival. So we're going to be in the area. We're going to be having a good time. So definitely swing by.
Yeah.
Saturday, May 6th. 3 p.m. is the show itself.
Yep. And Asbury Park is super, super cool. It's a fun place to be. So I don't know. There's more to draw you there than just us, is what I'm trying to say, basically.
Oh my God, entirely.
And this Fable Festival is basically like a street fair, but that's just all situated around like spooky sorts of stuff. So there are going to be tons of vendors there who have, wares that are somehow connected to the paranormal.
We've heard about tours
that
might be happening. Obviously, with a film festival, you're going to be able to go to screenings of short films and stuff. It's going to be a really good time. If you want to check out more, go to jerseydevilfest.com. And the best social media for them is at The Paranormal Museum on Instagram.
Yeah.
And so please put it on your calendar, Saturday, May 6th, 3 p.m. Eastern. Come hang out. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, we'd love to see you and meet you.
Absolutely.
And talk at you.
Yeah, in person for the first time in years.
In show form, yes.
We last did a live show just before the pandemic, which, man, I'm so glad, I'm so thankful that we got to have that experience before the world shut down.
Yep.
And I'm glad to be getting back out there.
Yeah, me too.
Also, if you're enjoying this episode, which is out of control,
it's debatable,
admittedly, and you like Guide to the Unknown, you want more, you want to support us, head to patreon.com/GTTUpod. You probably know Patreon, bunch of different tiers. Find the one that fits. The fun thing that we do there is that we do an entire separate podcast from this main show. We call it the Netherworld Dispatch, and we do it every single week. Always comes out on Mondays. It is a super good time.
Yeah.
We react to a lot.
People seem to like it.
Yeah.
Not just us saying it's a good time.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. If you look around, people will say that our Patreon is really worth it. We try to make each show a lot of fun. The most recent episode of the Netherworld Dispatch, Kristen and I looked up scary clips on TikTok and looked at some of the scariest stuff that I have saved off of like Reddit. And then I even got into some personal stories.
Oh, yeah.
About scary encounters that I had with my family at Sesame Place, where it was mostly scary because there was a very rude adult.
Extremely.
Who
we got some feedback on that. People were fired up.
It really fired people up, this Sesame Place story.
Yeah, it's not good.
But so go check that out. That is patreon.com/GTTUpod. Super, super fun. Really good time. We've even got commentary tracks up there. For all of the Twilight movies.
Yes.
Screams 1 through 5. And I'm anticipating a digital release for 6 soon. So we'll definitely be doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
So go check that out. And thank you all so much for your support.
Yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right, so let's talk about the PIGMAN again.
Yeah, give me PIGMAN.
Because unbelievably, in my notes, episode 272, we covered scary stuff from the show Seinfeld.
Right.
And I took so many notes, and there just was not enough time. There's not even enough time in this episode to do them all. But you talked about a PIGMAN.
How could you not?
How could I not? The episode, season 5, episode 5, it's titled The Briss. Most of the episode is about a bris.
Yep.
But Kramer's got this side plot going on in the episode where when he goes to the hospital to visit this family that had a baby, he goes into the wrong room. He goes into room 1937 instead of room 1397, and he becomes convinced that he has seen a pigman. Half man, half pig.
That's right.
He espouses a conspiracy theory concerning the government and genetic mutation leading to pigmen armies.
So stupid.
By the end of the episode, Kramer has gone back into the hospital and found the Pigman.
Yeah.
And, quote, liberates him from the hospital.
He helps him escape. You see the Pigman. You don't see him full on.
No.
But you see Kramer swaddling something that's oinking.
I think isn't it like on his back?
Maybe.
I think so. And then
I guess so. I was thinking him like carrying something, but you're right. I think it's on his back.
No, it's a grown man.
Yeah.
The Pigman then is said to have stolen George's car.
That's right.
And a sheepish Kramer is forced to admit that the Pigman was actually, quote, a fat little mental patient.
Right. Right.
But he oinks like
what
a pig.
What could have been. Yeah.
So that was the Pigman from the Briss episode.
Delightful.
Of Seinfeld.
Delightful.
Now, off of Pigmen, I did also have a Vermont.
Beautiful.
One that I didn't
I guess we were chock
to.
full of Vermont.
So this is the second most haunted place in Vermont. I thought this was kind of a funny thing to look up. I had the most famous haunted place at the time. I wanted to see what's right on its heels. It turns out it's the Green Mountain Inn.
Great.
And I like this. This gave us some... Do you remember a million years ago, we found out about a guy who was... His name was like George the Parrot, because he had a big nose or something like that, and then his dead body was eventually made into a pair of boots.
Kind of.
Does that ring a bell? I have no idea what episode that was, but this is like another, like, just like a weird local character kind of story. Mm-hmm. Former inn horseman Boots Barry.
Wow.
That's his name.
You must really love Boots for that to become your name.
I think I think boots were really important.
Yeah, I guess they probably were at a certain point.
In the Old West, before the 1900s really got started. Boots were, I think, a big part of your day.
I guess they're very hard to get on, so I bet they're literally a big part of your day because it takes for friggin' ever.
It takes a substantial amount of time to get them on.
But yeah, you don't want like a tumbleweed just bonking into your bare ankle.
Exactly.
You need
so I think they put a lot of thought into, do I have the right boots? Do I need new boots? Mm-hmm. So here we go. Boots Barry.
If you're Marty McFly.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't they go like, what kind of
moccasins
you got on there?
Yeah.
Wow. Back to the Future 3.
Hell yeah.
Really great. So, Boots Barry haunts the Green Mountain Inn. He was born in 1840 in room 302, son of a chambermaid and a horseman. When he became an inn horseman himself, he was awarded a medal for saving some stagecoach passengers when the horses ran away.
Oh my God.
Taverns all over gave Boots free drinks from that time on, which turned out not to be a good thing.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Alcoholism lost him his job. He became a wanderer, eventually landing in a New Orleans prison. Another prisoner taught him... Another prisoner taught him how to tap dance.
In his boots?
And it is believed that this is how he earned the nickname Boots.
Boots? It should be like Tappy.
Shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Toes.
Tap.
Tappy toes. Yeah. Boots came back to the Green Mountain Inn years later. And in 1902, he saved a little girl who had been trapped on the roof in a snowstorm. During his efforts, he fell to his death.
Ugh.
Just like Santa.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And according to legend, during a snowstorm, folks can hear the ghost of Boots Barry tap dancing across the roof.
Ooh. Ding, 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 ding.
And then I have this comment from Eric.
Real Ben Vereen.
Yes. Boots Vereen.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, Ben Vereen's people tried to book a pedicure for him at the salon that I used to work at. And when they found out that there wasn't time, they were very rude and pissed.
Mr. Vereen is not going to be happy about this.
I think it's funny because his feet are his thing.
The feet are the most important part of Ben Vereen.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get the pedicure at the time that he needed. And this is...
a problem.
How am I going to tell Mr. Vereen? Are you sure there's nothing that we can do? Slides a tap shoe across the table. That's what we do.
Or a boot.
I'm getting a pedicure on Friday.
I know.
What do you think of that?
Good for you.
I'll saw my heels.
You should keep a pumice stone in the shower. Just
no.
Probably
not going to do that.
I know.
So here's what Eric commented. They changed the room numbers and the inn, and it's at the inn. Its new room is 243. It is on the third floor. If anyone ever goes to the Green Mountain Inn in Vermont, third floor, room 243 is the haunted room. And then this reply came in. We are currently in room 243. I guess like as they type, I love this. Last night I heard tapping. I woke up, looked around, and went back to sleep. just this morning started researching and learned about boots.
Fun.
So they're in the room.
Wouldn't you be thrilled?
I would be so excited about that.
That's awesome.
I hear a tapping. What is there a thing about this place? What's going on?
Yeah.
Boots?
There is.
There's a tap dancing ghost, and I'm in the room that then they changed up. Wonderful.
That's awesome.
Incredible. So there you go. That is the ghost of Boots Barry.
It's funny that he's eternally tap dancing up there.
That sounds like it's his heaven.
I guess so.
Right?
It's his thing.
Make heaven here on earth.
Yeah.
And if he's stuck here on earth with unfinished business, I don't know. Maybe you just got to dance.
I guess so. You got to do what you love.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm going to take us across the pond to visit a British beastie.
Okay.
Who's known as the Beast of Bodmin Moor. Bodmin Moor. Excuse me.
Okay.
All right. So in Britain, apparently a popular subcategory of cryptozoology is ABCs, alien big cats. This doesn't mean alien as in extraterrestrial, but big cats that are appearing in places that aren't native to them.
Oh, okay.
So they're alien to
like
the area.
Foreign big cats.
Yeah.
This was an urban legend, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that we ran out of time for. The Beast of Bodmin.
No, this was yes, it is a religion. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was part of the bees.
Yes.
Yeah. So it like creates all these questions, like how did they get there? What's going on here? This is very strange. So it's like seeing a jaguar in a quaint English village or something like that. So in the early 90s, reports of mysterious livestock slayings and an apparently leopard-like creature hanging around started coming out of a place called Bodmin Moor. The Ministry of Agriculture's Fisheries and Food came out for an investigation, and they couldn't find evidence of a mysterious big cat. However, they also couldn't entirely rule it out, which is kind of the case like a lot. Like you can't find evidence, but that doesn't mean it definitely didn't happen.
Yep.
But, you know, it also just kind of leaves room for speculation for people, basically.
Yes.
If they can, like, I imagine somebody who wants it to be a thing being like, but can you rule it out? And then being like, well, no. And they're like,
I can't. So I've got you.
Yeah, exactly.
So what you're saying is, I've defeated you.
It's true, and I've conquered you.
I own you now.
So, yeah, it just it leaves a lot of room for people who are into that kind of thinking.
Yeah.
So less than a week after the government report came out, a boy named Barney Lanyon Jones.
Whoa.
Yep. Was hanging out down by the river with some friends when they saw a big weird skull poking out. It was about 4 inches wide and 7 inches long, with the bottom jaw missing, but with 2 big fangs like a leopard. The story hit the press and acted as kind of a counterpoint to the ministry saying that nothing was out there.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, there's nothing here. See?
Yeah, we found the bones, so
Right.
we know you lie.
Right. Upon further investigation of the skull, though, they found that the back of it had been cut away cleanly and there were other knife marks, suggesting that this may have been part of one of those freaky skin rugs with the head attached.
Oh!
Yeah, what were you thinking?
I just thought, because sometimes people have contrived their own
that was
corpses.
I mean, you're not far off, really.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, they were like, oh, this has all the markings of when people have a bear skin rug with a bear head attached to it, like the way that they cut the skull. So it
the Addams Family
lies on the floor.
So its head is looking in the wrong direction from how it would usually look, like the PIGMEN.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It all comes back to that pig
thing.
Biology.
We don't know where the pig ends and the man begins. I'm not sure. Right. What if it was just a pig with the ass of a man?
That's quite troubling.
Just the cheeks. That's it. It's still technically a pig man.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, it only got the cheeks.
Yeah.
Not a bad gig.
Something to think about.
Yeah. Okay, so it suggested that it's part of one of those weirdo rugs. Plus, this isn't the first time that one of those heads that like seems like it might come from a rug has been found out in nature. A handful of years later, there were 2 separate incidents of large skulls being found that were later attributed to being part of those rugs. It's surmised that pranksters may have put them out in the countryside to confuse, obfuscate, and freak people out.
Couldn't they have just like disposed of rugs incorrectly?
I guess they could have, but I guess in the country, I mean, I don't know. I guess you could have, but it's just the head. I don't know.
Yeah, there's no sign of fabric. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, that's very weird.
So it seems like weirdos just decided to like throw them around so people would find them and be like, ugh.
Yeah.
And especially if big cat, or what are they called, ABCs are a thing.
Right.
Like you can screw with like the nutters
right.
who believe in this sort of thing.
Meanwhile, you're the nutter that's like carrying severed heads.
Yeah, absolutely. That you even have access to this is troubling.
Yes.
So there are still sightings of the Beast of Bodmin Moor to this day, and there's a photo that is hotly contested of a large cat that seems to be an adult female puma, which makes them look very big. Puma tracks were also identified by a zoo near Bodmin Moor, so that seems to me like what's going on here in at least this instance.
An escaped puma?
Yeah.
That's scary too, though. It's no more comforting than there being a beast.
It's still an alien big cat. It's just that you kind of know where it came from as opposed to it just like appearing in the wild. Did you see that there were dolphins in the Raritan River?
I did.
This week?
Yeah.
That's the equivalent. The Raritan River is like one of the most polluted rivers in the state or whatever.
Used to call it Old Pooh River.
Yeah, Pooh River. I used to live right in front of Pooh River.
They found some bodies in Old Pooh River.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
While I was there. It was rough. But yeah, dolphins, which shouldn't be in that area, were found like doing their whole dolphin thing, like cresting. And hopefully somebody called, wildlife or whatever.
Yeah, they need to be saved.
Yeah.
I take that, I don't know, is it a dolphin like a fluke? They come in from the Atlantic and they make their way to New Brunswick, New Jersey?
I think so. I think it was just a weirdo, I guess. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just saw it from Facebook and the person was like, well, somebody should call the Wildlife Federation or whatever. And somebody was like, well, why don't you do it? If you're saying like someone should do it, like go ahead. And then I think in the thread, somebody said like they're taking care of it.
By all means, feel free. Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. That's the Beast of Bodmin Moor.
Wonderful. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
I've only got Seinfeld stuff. Do you have anything that what else do you have? Because you're usually the one that suffers the most, I think.
Yeah, sure.
I see how much you're scrolling. There's a lot in there, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can tell us about the British Museum from episode 252, Haunted Museums.
Great.
So a former director of the museum anonymously told writer Noah Angel, writing for decolonialhacker.org, quote, as I turned the lights off, it was like, when you get a tingling sensation like someone's right behind you? It wasn't dark at the time. The lights were still on, but it felt like someone was there.
Yeah.
The only way I could perceive it was someone had put their hand in and grabbed my spine and sent the biggest chill up my spine. I kind of ignored it and said to my colleague, that was weird. You can unlock that in the morning. I refused to go back in there, about some room. He was a Welshman and he was like, don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. He went back in the morning to unlock it and I followed him. When we got back to the same area again, I got the same chills, but he actually had jelly legs as well, for no reason whatsoever. It completely put me off that whole area. It was that feeling of, I'll get up your back, I want you out of my area. And for him to say that he felt his legs go like jelly, it even freaked him out. And we just went out of there as quick as you could say boo. We were gone. We were gone. So this article kind of comes from their perspective, kind of unsurprisingly, because it's from a website called decolonialhacker.com, from the perspective of class, which I thought was kind of interesting. And it was talking about how for a lot of museums, it's really the cleaners and guards who experience the brunt of paranormal stuff. Because they're there at night when it's, for whatever reason said that more scary things happen in off hours where there's less distraction for whatever.
Yeah, there could be still ghosts doing stuff while the business is open.
But people might not notice it or whatever because the place is like super crowded.
Yeah.
But the thing is that their accounts don't really hold as much weight as the higher ups who don't want to talk about this stuff because it might seem silly. Because the higher ups are kind of need to hold themselves with a little bit more like import and seriousness.
And a classist assumption that if you're cleaning the place, maybe you are easily fooled or you trick yourself.
You're not as like serious a person.
You're not as learned as me.
Right. So like it's easier to kind of brush off some of these accounts for that reason.
Interesting.
Which I thought was, really interesting that a lot of these come, it seems like from this research, from people who work there, like in these sorts of jobs instead of like the higher up ones.
Yeah.
So, for example, there was a spate of weird door happenings. These are doors that couldn't have possibly opened or shut on their own, but someone posited that they had just recently turned the medieval Christian gallery into the Islamic artifacts gallery. Could spirits or energies or whatever be pissed since these things were enemies in medieval times?
Oh.
So, like, the Christians and the Islamic people, like, had problems. And so could there be, like, a turf war over these things, like, sharing the same space?
I'll tell you what. In the Ghostbusters video game, you go through the Natural History Museum, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this makes sense, but in the video game, you go through a room where it's the Civil War.
Yeah.
And Union and Confederate soldiers are still fighting.
So the same kind of thought.
Yes.
And I believe it's documentary Night at the Museum. I couldn't remember the name of it. I was about to say Museum at Night.
Yes.
Where Robin Williams is Teddy Roosevelt, and I'm sure he's feuding with somebody who he feuded with in real life.
No, he falls in love with Sacagawea or Pocahontas.
Oh, okay.
Remember?
Well, I was pulling it out of my ass.
Weird?
Yeah, it is weird.
Yeah.
I don't remember that at all.
Museum de la Noche?
That's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Okay. So.
Remember that Easter Island ad that just goes like, how you doing, dum-dum? Hey, you jub. That was the whole gag, is that he talks like that.
Kind of. I feel like I can picture that.
Brad Garrett calling Ben
People
Stiller
dum-dum and jub.
Yeah, you jub.
I wonder if Zoe would like that movie.
I'm sure she would.
Yeah.
Especially if we went to the museum.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we should watch that. Okay, so this blog had a historian of the Anglo-Saxon period who also happens to be a psychic medium named Patsy Sorrenti in to talk about this, and had this to say about this specific incident, about the, Christianity-Islam idea. Whoever was looking after that, whoever was linked to those objects, maybe more than one person, has got the hump. Because you swapped Christianity for Islam, and in the medieval world in those times, that was the devil. Because you represent the people who work here, you are responsible. So meaning whoever is swapping these things out, you're at fault for, like, daring to put something that one group thought of as very evil into their space. So now you're in the crosshairs.
You just tell the ghost that you're a horse's ass. And
yeah, seriously, like, shut
get your head out of your ass, ghost.
Yeah, stop being an asshole. So that's why the doors closed on you, and that's why your man was thrown. Talking like British people.
Yes.
That's what it is. You've replaced Christianity, and you've replaced it with something that's a devil to us. You displaced it. You displaced us for that. Okay. So she's saying that that's what these Christian ghosts are saying to her.
Oh, okay. I thought she was aligning with the Christian ghosts.
No. She's speaking as, like, it is kind of phrased like that. I can see why you think that. But no, she's saying, like, they're saying you're replacing us with something that, we're repelled by or whatever.
Right.
Because they were assholes. I don't think that Patsy Sorrento was saying she is. Okay. They also talk about museums as object prisons, which I thought was kind of a neat idea. And how maybe, using that line of thinking, how maybe hauntings are like prison strikes in that context. Yeah. Like, if you're like, look, I'm attached to this item, or it's an item that, like, really means something to me or whatever, and we're holed up here, like, it's not used for whatever its original intention was. Because say it's like, I don't know, a salad bowl from antiquity.
Sure.
Like, their relatives and people that they care about aren't still using and enjoying the salad bowl because you need to, like, have it on display for people to pay and gawk at. We're pissed, so we're going to rise up.
I like that.
I like it
That's
too.
interesting.
I think it's a fun idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how, if you believe that objects can carry energy, sometimes these are objects of mortal enemies that are housed close to each other. Could that cause turmoil? So kind of in the same way that, like, swapping out the Christian artifacts for the Islamic artifacts could make whatever ghosts or whatever is attached to the Christian artifacts get mad. This scenario is saying what?
Well, it just occurred to me the Christian artifacts aren't there anymore. So aren't those ghosts?
Well, I would think they're in a different part of it.
Sitting in a crate somewhere?
Right. Yeah. But I don't think the ghosts are literally attached, like they're living inside a vase.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know. But I don't know, maybe they're swapped to a different area.
But same deal with proximity now is what you're saying.
Right. So rather than being like it's swapped out, so they're pissed that they were usurped. What if they're in the same room?
That makes more sense.
And they're like, hey, like looking at each other. And that's causing all sorts of activity.
Yeah. That's the plot of the fourth Matrix movie. Trinity and Neo are kept in pods just close enough that their energies sort of resonate with each other.
Okay. I kind of remember that. I remember being confused.
Yeah, I was confused too. It didn't make much sense to me.
I didn't know if it was because I hadn't seen the Matrix movies in a long time.
Right.
But I was having a hard time with that.
No, it didn't matter if you saw them or not. That was brand new and it was very puzzling.
Very good.
With that full reviews on our Patreon.
Yes, it is. Yep. Yes, it is. So that's it for this round. Yeah.
All right. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Although I would love to give you a mini from Seinfeld just to cap it off.
Please.
Just a closer from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
If you would be so kind
and
as
on
to
a high note, like George.
Exactly. Bub the Zombie from Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
That actor is named Sherman Howard. And he plays a character on Seinfeld named Roy. So the actor, Bub the Zombie, is in Seinfeld, but he's got a notable role because he is in the season 4, episode 20 episode, The Junior Mint.
Oh, the Junior Mint.
Bub the Zombie from Day of the Dead is Jerry and Kramer's friend who's going in for surgery.
Splayed open yet again.
And Kramer tries to give Jerry a Junior Mint.
Yeah.
They argue in the big, surgery theater.
Yeah.
And the Junior Mint flies up and goes into Roy's open body during the surgery. They were observing his splenectomy.
Right.
And they don't tell anyone. So that's Bub the Zombie is in there.
It's delightful.
It's great. It's great.
It's one of the most iconic things from Seinfeld, I think.
Undeniably, yes. Yeah. The Junior Mint. They're quite refreshing.
Yeah. Nobody's contesting that.
No. All right, everybody. A grab bag.
Yes.
A little bit of everything. Because why not?
Absolutely. It's like a charcuterie plate of the macabre.
Yes. Now, I certainly have more.
Yeah.
I saw how much scrolling you were doing. It looks like you have more.
No, I'm tapped out.
You're tapped out.
I'm tapped out.
Oh, you were scrolling through stuff you'd already talked about.
Yes.
Wow, so you cleaned house.
Yep.
Look at that.
Spring cleaning.
Boom.
Yeah.
Clean as a whistle.
We suck at high-fiving. I don't know if people know that out there.
You know.
I don't know why they would. I know that people don't know that.
They may have heard an anemic little clap.
Yeah, it's
I'm
not great.
sure. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We hope you had a good time. How do you think a pigman would stand? What direction's his head looking in?
We'd love to know. Please leave it in the comments.
Gotta know.
Yeah.
As far as my Seinfeld stuff, we could probably do another episode, or I could probably whip out a Seinfeld fact like every episode for a while. I don't know.
Works for me. I'm sure I will build back up my stores.
Undeniably. Yes, and I'll keep Seinfeld at the ready.
Yep.
All right, everyone. Patreon.com/GTTU pod if you are so inclined. I also just saw that there is a new post about us just while we've been talking at the Jersey Devil Fable Festival. And so I have a little bit of info that I can share with you.
Oh, great.
For schedule and details about the Jersey Devil Fable Festival, you can go to jerseydevilfest.com.
Oh, great.
jerseydevilfest.com. And once again, on Friday night, we are going to be on the panel for the film festival portion. And on Saturday, May 6th at 3 p.m., we will be doing a show live and in person.
Yeah.
Come drop by. We'll have a table before and after. Come say hello. It's going to be a good time. Asbury Park, New Jersey is a fun place to explore.
Yep.
And you can have a good time where we can meet face to face and say hi.
Yeah. Oh, hi.
Oh, hey. Oh, hey.
Oh, nice to meet you.
For more,
I'll apologize for being so sweaty.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. Especially if we really are outside. I'll be covered in a variety of creams.
Yeah. Same.
And obviously follow at GTTU pod because you know that we'll be posting in the run-up as well. And you can follow us online individually if you'd like.
Yep. I'm at Chillin' Kristen.
I'm at The Myth Traveler. So thank you all again one last time. We'll be back next week for more spooky stuff. But until that time comes, we must travel.
Back to the netherworld go we. Who knows what we'll cover?
It could be anything.
I can't imagine. I can't wait to find out.
I don't know what we're going to say.
Woo!
Oh my God, it's going to be great.